بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. We welcome you in another episode from the transaction which is in the book of Al-Wajeez. And I believe we are on the chapter of the amana, which is the safekeeping. تفضل يا إسماعيل.
بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد. Tonight on the 23rd of Jumaadaa Al-Uulaa in the year 1442, corresponding to the 6th of January in the year 2021, we are in the book Al-Wajeez, the concise presentation of the fiqh, in the chapter of business transactions under the heading Depositing for Safekeeping on page 498. The word al-wadi'ah means to leave something. Here, it refers to depositing something with someone for the purpose of safekeeping. Its legal ruling.
طيب. This wadi'ah is depositing something, whether it is money or property. So whether I'm giving you money to safekeeping for me, or I'm giving you an item, whether it is a car or anything that I could say to you, please keep that in your safe, look after it. That's called amana. If this person takes wages or return for safekeeping that, then we call it hiring a person to look after it. This chapter is not really dealing with that issue. This is something that is safekeeping without a return. So this is basically from the chapter of ihsan, being kind. And here, just like we talked about the chapter before that, which is al-hawala, and that is to refer the money to somebody else, to refer your debt to somebody else. And that is from the being kind. Very important to know if is it from the chapter or from under the umbrella of being kind, or is it under the umbrella of that is daman. Daman means that you are a guarantor. So here there's no guarantee. I'm giving you, you're looking after it. There is no guarantee upon you, except if there is tafriq, or there is and you are falling short, or you're making something which is not allowed, as we're going to see inshallah. So basically here, the wadi'ah is safekeeping, is under the umbrella of being kindness, unless this person, you give him money to look after you think, then he becomes somebody who is like you hire him, and when you hire him, then he will be responsible and in charge in case of that thing being lost or had been damaged. Safekeeping is permissible, and it is not like begging, so it does not entail humiliation. Safekeeping is actually recommended in general. It is recommended because you are being kind to the person by looking after his item. As long as you are able to look after it, then this is kindness from you to do so. And basically as well, it could be also compulsory, that there is nobody to look after my item except for you, and you have to look after it. Then it becomes compulsory. Say, for example, that me and you as just the only two people who are living in this neighborhood, nobody else. And I left the house and I said, the house is in your custody. You have to look after it because there's nobody there. And as long as you are capable of as well. So this is, so it becomes compulsory, and it becomes also haram if you are going to be, for example, safekeeping something which is haram, like haram money. Or a haram item or a storing thing. I cannot safekeep that item because it's haram. So it becomes haram, it becomes compulsory. Generally the case, it is recommended. If you are a person who will accept to safekeep something for a brother, then you're going to be rewarded for that. And remember, your hand, we call it yadu amana. Laysat yadu daman. It is the hand of a person who is giving a favor. It's not a person who is going to guarantee for you, because he's doing that voluntarily for you, for your sake. طيب. Now, going to the ruling of it.
Its legal ruling. If a Muslim asks his brother to deposit something with him and to have him safeguard it, it is recommended for him to accept that request if he knows that he has the means to safeguard it, as this is a type of assisting one another in piety and righteousness.
So we could add here, it could be compulsory or it could be haram. It could be compulsory if there's nobody to safeguard that thing. It could be haram if that item you're going to safeguard is haram in itself. Now,
It is obligatory upon the receiving of the item to return the item whenever the depositor requests it.
okay, even if he requested it before the time which has been agreed. Keep my car for 2 months. I came in 2 days and said, give me my car back. You can't say you gave it to me for 2 months to keep it for you. You're not allowed to take it after 2 months. No, I could take it whenever I want because you are accepting that you're going to be safeguarding or safekeeping that item. So whether I take it at the time which has been agreed upon or before that time, okay. But after, if the time had elapsed, I said to you 2 months, and there is more than that, you have the right to say to him, brother, come take your item, because he just said to me 2 months. And even before that, you could say to him, I promised you I'm going to give you 2 months, but something had happened and I can't keep it anymore because I'm not safe. Because once we know it is favorism, this is kindness, then there is no problem, because there's nobody here is liable for what he had been entrusted with. He's not liable because he's doing his best. He's doing you a favor. And we say in Arabic as well, beggars cannot be choosers. طيب.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said, Inna Allah ya'murukum an tu'addu al-amanati ila ahliha. Verily, Allah commands that you should render back the trust to those to whom they are due.
So this is basically called, take it easy, Ismail. This is called trust. And Arabic is called amana. And amana is the safeguarding. So Allah called it trust. So even we are in Arabic, in the normal language, you call it amana. Hadi amana. We don't call it wadi'ah. And the word wadi'ah, to safeguard something, it's actually been mixed with something which is wadi'ah of the bank. So the people, for example, they put a wadi'ah, that is something depositing money. That's different, akhi. Because depositing the money with these people, with the bank, it's not a wadi'ah, because you know for a fact that if the bank had burnt or something had, let's say, for example, they're bankrupt, they are in charge of paying you back the money. So it's not really a trust. If it's a trust, the bank is not responsible. If the bank has lost the money, or he's gone bankrupt, or liquidated, or being burnt, to do whatever it is, you have to compensate you. That means it's not an amana, that's something different. So the difference between the wadi'at al-bank, the bank depositing, that's different from this amana, which is a trust. طيب. So we say that this wadi'ah, this amana, is a trust, and it's a favor. You do it, and you will not be in charge if anything happens to it, except if there is, you've done one of the two, or two of them, ta'addi or ifrat. What does mean ta'addi? What does mean ifrat? Ta'addi, we explain that as well with the hawala. Ta'addi means that you do something which is not permissible. Ifrat meaning you have left something, you should have done it. I'll give you an example. I gave you, okay, a box of chocolate. Safeguard it for me until I come back. So you put it in the sun. You're liable for it because you know that you have done something which is impermissible. You're putting it in the sun, it's going to melt. It's going to be ruined. Or, for example, that you have used it, and when so if you so or you did not care. For example, let's say that you did. So if you have put it in the sun, you've done something wrong, because you have done something which is impermissible. And also, if that item is being given to you, needs to be refrigerated, and as I said to you, to be refrigerated, and you left it not to be refrigerated, you have made ifrat. That means you have you left something which you're supposed to do. Again, as well, if you have used that box of chocolate, you have transgressed. You have done something which is impermissible. Okay, and also if you have not put it in the fridge, you have made ifrat. you have left something you're supposed to do, to keep it with you, because you've accepted to take that on board and to keep it for me. Because of that, you are not liable as long as you don't make, as I said, ta'addi or ifrat. Ta'addi or tafrit, sorry, not ifrat, tafrit. Ta'addi means you do something which is impermissible. Tafrit means you leave something that you're supposed to do. You must do it. This ayah, inna Allah ya'murukum an tu'addu al-amanati ila ahliha. Allah is commanding you to fulfill your amana, the trust you've been trusted with, to give it back. For verily, we know that in the tafsir, that this ayah is being given as being sent down because of the Prophet ﷺ on the day when he had regained Mecca. He called for Uthman ibn Talha and he gave him the key of the Kaaba. So the Prophet of Allah considered that to be amana. So he said, Al-yawm yawm wafa'in wa bir. Al-yawm yawm wafa'in wa bir. Meaning that this day is the day of fulfilling the trust. And the trust here is to give the key back. طيب, تفضل.
The Prophet ﷺ also said, return the trust to the one who entrusted you.
So the Prophet ﷺ, he said, fulfill the trust and return it back. And this is the second proof, which is Quran and Sunnah. And also we have the consensus, that's ijma'. And also it is common sense, because people need that thing, which is, you need to leave your house, to trust somebody on it, to leave your car, to be trusting somebody with it. Okay. Now, if you've been trusted with anything, you're not allowed to use it. You're not allowed to use it. So if I trusted you with chocolate, you're not allowed to eat from it. Trusted you with a car, you're not allowed to use it to go on. If I entrusted you with some gold and silver, keep it in your safe. Okay. You're not allowed to start using it and selling and buying. Once you start to use it, then it's becomes like a loan. And the loan here, it entails that you're going to be paying zakah on it. So if I entrusted you with a quantity of gold or a quantity of money, give it to you, keep it for me, you're not liable for zakah. You don't pay zakah on it. But once you start to use it, it doesn't become ariyah. It becomes a loan. Okay, if you use it without my permission, that's haram. But if you use it with my permission, you said, can I use your money, brother? The one who gave it to me. Once I said to you, yes, it's halal for you to use it. But now it transferred from being trust to something which is debt. So that means you're going to be paying zakah if you kept that money with you. So if you kept that £10,000, you have to pay the 2.5% on it because you've used it. It was become like yours now. طيب, let's go to the ضمانية. نعم.
The responsible party. The one who is entrusted with a deposit is not responsible for it unless he was negligent.
Negligent here is of two things. We said ta'addi, doing something which is impermissible, or tafrit, leaving something that he should have done. He must have done for it. That is as long as the one who is safekeeping yours, safeguarding your item, who's been entrusted with, is voluntarily doing it. He's not paying money. If you paid money, then there will be a daman, there will be a return. I mean, you are in charge and you're responsible in case something happened to it, because you're not doing it for the benefit of the owner of that thing. You've been doing it for your own benefit. You keep safekeeping this because of your own benefit. You want money, wages. Because of that, then you will be daman. That means you will be a guarantor if something happened to it, unless you made a condition. You pay me, brother, money to look after your car, but I'm not in charge if anything happens to it. For example, somebody stole it. I'm not in charge. Then that condition exempted you. But if there's no condition, you are in charge because you've been paid money. But if you've done that voluntarily, nothing happens to you. I will, inshallah, explain more. Faddal.
Amr ibn Shu'ayb narrated from his father on the authority of his grandfather,
Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As, naam, is his name, naam,
that the Prophet ﷺ said, if one accepts a deposit, there is no liability upon him. He also narrated
okay,
that
so if somebody, again, this hadith, and stop, please.
if one accepts a deposit, there is no liability upon him.
Okay, this hadith has three benefits here. Benefit number one, that it is permissible to safeguard, and is secondly, it's permissible to accept. So I'm safeguarding with you and you accept that. And also that is no guarantee. Third thing, which is no guarantee, because his hand is the hand of trust, is not the hand of guarantee. Naam.
He also narrated that the Prophet ﷺ said, there is no liability upon the one who accepts a trust.
No responsibility, no liability, even if that item being stolen. There is no, for example, you kept money with me and the money was stolen somehow, unless I have been negligent. Negligence says two things, which is I'm supposed, for example, I have done something which is impermissible. Let's say you gave me gold and I put it outside the house, or I hang it where anybody can see it. Okay, or if I made tafrit, which is I left something I should have done, which is to keep it in the best safe, and I keep my items. Naam, تفضل.
Anas ibn Malik narrated that Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu repaid a depositor for a deposit that had been stolen from among his wealth.
Again, read it again, please. Anas radiallahu anhu, he says,
Anas ibn Malik narrated that Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu repaid a depositor for a deposit that had been stolen from among his wealth.
That's not a correct translation. Repaid himself, in Umar himself? No. Umar al-Khattab and his reign of his khilafah, he had compelled Anas to repay for a trust being stolen from him between his money. That means Anas himself, he was being trusted by somebody with an item, whether it's money or whatever, and that item was stolen. So Umar al-Khattab made Anas to be liable for that. I think is wrongly translated. It's what's totally wrongly translated. Al-Bayhaqi said,
Al-Bayhaqi said, this must be understood as meaning that he was negligent concerning it, and therefore, due to his negligence, he covered it for the other person.
So who is he negligent here? Refers to Ismail after I explained?
Anas.
So Anas is negligent. He must have been negligent. That's why Umar radiallahu an made him liable for that loss of that property or that money that he'd been trusted with. طيب. So we are going to explore into this and give you more examples. If you have, for example, said to me, please, I've got some gold and keep it in your safest place. So I took your gold, okay, and I hidden it in the kitchen. And it was stolen. Am I liable or am I not? That's a question. Put your hands up if you understand, if you got the answer. Again, you asked me to keep 1 kilo of gold as a trust. And you said to me, keep it in the safest place that you've got. So I put it in the kitchen, somewhere in the kitchen, under the sink. And the money was stolen. Am I liable for paying that 1 kilo of gold or I'm not? Naam ya Abu Farid. Give the piece the go ahead for people to unmute themselves.
You're unmuted, brother. Go ahead.
Yes, Sheikh, you're liable.
Why am I liable?
Because you were meant to keep it as safe as possible, where people will not be able to access to it.
Well, that's according to what you think or according to what I think? Is it according to what you believe? You are the one who's giving me the gold, or is it according to me? You told me to keep it.
Kitchen.
Well, I kept it in the kitchen because I thought this was the safest place. Because when the thief gonna come, he's gonna look into my closet. He's gonna go look in my bedroom. He's gonna look into my loft. He's gonna look into everyone. He will never think that I'm gonna hide something precious with the items underneath the sink with the with the cleaners and the detergent. You will never think that. You're wrong. So if I said myself, kept that for you, I kept it, and you said to me, keep it in the safest place. The safest place, according to what I believe, is the kitchen, underneath the sink, because the thief is going to go everywhere. You will never think I'm going to keep gold underneath. By the way, I don't have gold in my kitchen. So I'm just saying, but I'm just saying that the thief usually goes to the most safest thing, which is the safe. If you have a safe, you go, the first thing is going to break into it. Why should I give him the code into the safe? I'll keep it somewhere else where you're not going to never think he's going to go into the, he will not go in everything which we think that, that is going to be that this is hidden item. He's going to go into, maybe he will break my bed into pieces. But he will never come to my kitchen where I'm putting the sink and all of that. Okay. So that's why we say, if the person who's being trusted had said that I kept it in the safest place according to what you told me, his saying is accepted because he's a volunteer. He did not do negligence. The negligence, it has to be according to what he believes is negligence, not you. Right. Now, if, for example, you gave me that 1 kilo of gold, and I have kept it voluntarily for you, and you said to me, keep it in the safest place. It's been with me for years. Then you came back and you asked me for it. And for me, I'm an old man. I keep forgetting. Brother, I believe I gave it to you. I gave you and returned the 1 kilo of gold. He will say to you, you did not. Brother, I gave you the 1 kilo. Any witnesses? No witnesses. In both sides, no witnesses. Whose word is going to be taken? Mine word or your word? Whose, according to the judge, my word or your word? I'm saying I gave it to you. And you're saying, Wallah, I didn't give it to you. Yeah, he said, Wallahi, I gave it to you. Whose word will be taken here? There's no witnesses. Put your hands up if you don't. No. I'm trying to make this class interactive, so the number of turning up is not really that good for something which is very important. Subhanallah. Naam. Fadal Imran.
Yeah, Sheikh. Would the judge look at who's got the more sound mind? Because you mentioned the old person, he's old, he's forgetting. Is that how the judge would do it? So he would go by the first person?
Wrong again. Because I said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, مَا عَلَى الْمُحْسِنِينَ مِن سَبِيلٍ. There is no way you could blame the person who's doing you a favor. It's your fault you trusted me. I'm an old man. Why did you trust me, akhi? I said to you, I gave it to you. Unless you bring a proof. There's a camera. Look. Okay. That I'm all the time in this country. I never left that country. How can you give it to me? There is nothing. How are you going to give it to me? Something else. But it's my word against your word. My word will be the uppermost. Khalas. And be accepted because I am doing you a favor. Once I'm doing a favor, my word has to be accepted. Not your word. It's your fault you trusted me. Fine. You gave me the 1 kilo of gold. You said to me, keep it in the safe of your bedroom. And I had 2 safes. I said to you, keep it in the safe of your bedroom. And I did not keep it in the safe of the bedroom. I kept it in the safe of the hall. There's a hall there. Or let's say the utility room. I kept it in the safe of the utility room. Money was stolen. Who's liable here? Am I liable or I'm not liable? Faddal ya Anas.
Naam, Sheikh. The one who was keeping it in the other safe, he is liable because it was specified.
I'm the one. I am trusted. I'm entrusted with it, so I'm liable to pay it back.
So you are liable because it was specified where to keep it, and you didn't do it.
Right. Well done. Correct answer. Was I specified for me? You said to me, keep that 1 kilo of gold in the most safest place in the safe of your bedroom. So I kept that 1 kilo of gold, because you said the most safest place in the bedroom, in a place where I thought even more safer than the bedroom of my child, because nobody would look at it, because look at my bedroom. The money was stolen. Am I liable for it? Okay, there's no answer. I'm not liable for it, because I am the volunteer. I'm just saying to you, I said to you, yes, but you could say to me the safest place, even though you indicated that one, but I kept it because according to what I believe, that bedroom was targeted. I've seen lately that people were really sniffing around, so I've kept it in the bedroom of my child. Remember, the volunteer, he's got the upper hand because he's doing you a favor. Type. Once you put restrictions on the ones who does give you a favor like this, there will be no favors. Favors will finish. So if the person who is being entrusted, being given the permission to use the item, then it becomes borrow, as we're going to be in the coming chapter. Borrow. So it's not safekeeping, safeguarding, and then it becomes different category. Borrow is different from safekeeping. طيب. If you said to me, keep it in a safe, and I kept it in a different safe, I'm not really as well liable for that. Right, let's just go to the following chapter, which is Al-Ariyah. Now,
Lending, items at no charge. Its definition and legal ruling. The jurists have defined this as the owner of something allowing another to use that item without any payment or compensation.
right. So basically, I am lending you something. It's called lending. Lending you something to use. You're not going to own that thing, but you are going to use the benefit out of it. Right. So what do we benefit from this? Number one, we benefit that this is from the chapters of being ihsan, being kind. This is something like a favor. And Allah, he said, وَأَحْسِنُوا إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُحِبُّ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. Person came to borrow something from you, don't say to him no. Okay? Because you could be from those people, وَيَمْنَعُونَ الْمَعُونَ. Al-ma'un is the help. You prevent the ma'un. So I want to borrow. Okay? You could borrow. Unless, there is something that makes you prevent you from doing that. But it is good. It's better for you. It's not compulsory. It is better for you to give the help to these people, to make them borrow the thing, okay, that they want to borrow. So, for example, you've got lots of camels, and they want, for example, the male camel. Okay, so you let these people to come to your camels and borrow this camel in order for them to mate with the she camels of theirs. That's very good borrow. And we understand that also that this is not giving the ownership, but actually giving the permissibility of using the benefit of the item. So you're not allowed to hire what you have borrowed. You're not allowed to give borrowal of that thing you have borrowed. You borrowed my car. You're not allowed to start hiring it to other people. You're not allowed to borrow my car and go and give it a borrowal to somebody else, because you don't own that item to hire it, nor you own that item to make it a borrowal for somebody else. You are borrowing it to use it for your own usage. Now, also, that we learn from this, the third thing, that what you borrow, it has to stay. The thing that you borrow, it has to be an item that it has to stay after usage. What I mean by this, there's no such thing. Can I borrow, one bread from you? You're going to borrow the bread. You're going to eat it. There's nothing going to come back to me. So there's no such thing that you borrow the bread. You have to the borrowal has to be on an item that once you use it, you return it back. Not something that once you take it, it's not going to come back. Like, can I borrow, please, a piece of fruit from you? I want apple. There's no borrow of apple. Gonna eat it and return me nothing with it. So that's not called borrow. طيب. Now, legality.
This is considered a commendable act.
Does it have a title, please?
In my book, it doesn't.
Okay, we can put this, the rule of it, because it has a book, حكمها, the rule of it. Now,
It's legality.
do you have that word? It's legality. Do you have that one? No.
No.
Okay, good title. Go on.
This is considered a commendable act, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has stated, وَتَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْبِرِّ وَالتَّقْوَى. Help you one another in piety and righteousness. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam also said, Allah is helping the servant as long as the servant is helping his brother. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also censures those who are not willing to help others, as he has stated, فَوَيْلٌ لِلْمُصَلِّينَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنْ صَلَاتِهِمْ سَاهُونَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ يُرَاءُونَ وَيَمْنَعُونَ الْمَاعُونَ. So woe unto those performers of prayers, those who delay their prayer from their fixed times, those who do good deeds only to be seen of men and refuse small kindnesses.
طيب. So we understand from here it is recommended to give the borrow, but I say that it is actually more than that. It could be compulsory and it could be haram. Can anybody tell me an example if the borrow becomes compulsory? Now, the borrow becomes compulsory, that you need to lend that. It's compulsory upon you to lend that thing to him. Okay, I'll give you the answer. Start scratching your brains and start answering. Basically, it is Naam ya Imran.
Yeah, Sheikh. So is it when like they're in a need where, for example,
Well done.
like they might die, for example?
Yes. For example, a person who is dying out of thirst, and he's asking you for a bucket to go and, he lend you a bucket, to lend him a bucket because you got buckets to go and fetch water from the well. Then it is compulsory upon you to lend him that that bucket. A borrow can be haram. Anybody give me an example? Easy. Come on. Yeah, تفضل يا Anas. Come on, I don't just have Anas and Imran. We have somebody else. نعم يا Anas.
Naam, Sheikh. If a person, for example, asks for money and you know he is going to spend it on alcohol, for example.
Okay, but this is not called borrow. Because the money I borrow, remember, the borrow has to be an item that can be returned. The money will be taken like the fruit.
No. Well, in that case,
the money borrow becomes loans, debt. Doesn't become borrow. No.
Then if he asks you for alcohol straight.
No, this is because alcohol does not return back. You have to be borrow. Anybody like Abu Farid?
Can I borrow your wife?
Huh? That's not correct answer. Faisal, تفضل. يلا فيصل. يلا يا فيصل. Never mind. Yasser, please.
Faisal speaking now, Sheikh. Please, Faisal.
Yasser, please. I'm too late, Sheikh.
Oh, Yasser, go ahead, Yasser.
I'm the one who says please, Ya Ahmed. Yasser. Yalla Yasser. Okay. Never mind. Admin 3. Admin 3.
Sheikh, so if somebody wanted to borrow a hammer to go and break somebody's head with it.
Well done. A good example. Can I borrow your hammer, please? Why? I want to kill that person with it. I want to break the car of that person. I want to smash that. Can I borrow a knife to kill that person? Can I borrow a gun to... Okay. Borrow. You can't borrow alcohol. You cannot borrow wives, and you cannot borrow money, because this is something... Borrowing the money and borrowing the alcohol, this is not borrow, because the item does not stay the same. The borrow has to be, I borrow it, then you use it, and then I could return it back. I cannot... The alcohol, I'm going to return you the bottle empty. Okay, the money, I'm going to return you nothing. That's not borrow. It has to be an item that, after usage, you return it back. That's the borrow. Okay. As for the wife, I don't know what's the answer when borrow my wife. You cannot borrow the wife, because the wife is my wife. You cannot marry her. I'm saying to borrow something, which is borrowing like knife. Borrowing the knife is halal. But once the purpose of that usage of that, I'm saying, look at the purpose. What is the purpose? Is haram. If you borrowed my knife to go and cut your onions, no problem. But you're going to cut the fingers of your wife, haram. So this is the difference. نعم. يا تفضل يا طيب تفضل يا اسماعيل.
It is obligatory to return the borrowed item. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said, إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَأْمُرُكُمْ أَن تُؤَدُّوا الْأَمَانَةِ إِلَى أَهْلِهَا.
لا الأمانات يا شيخ.
الْأَمَانَاتِ إِلَى أَهْلِهَا. Verily Allah commands that you should render back the trust to those to whom they are due.
Okay, we have a hadith here from Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. This hadith in Sahih al-Targhib wa-Tarhib 763. This hadith as follows. Prophet of Allah, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, he said, Prophet said, Al-Qatlu fi sabilillah, the being a martyr in the sake of Allah, it will expiate all the sins except for the trust. So that, remember, we had before another hadith, except for the debt, for the loan. If you are a martyr, all your sins will be forgiven except for the loan. Now add as well the amana, except for the as well the trust. You've been trusted with something and you did not give it back. You denied. Does not be accepted. It's like part of a loan, isn't it? It's the same as a loan. But this is a trust. I've trusted you with something and you didn't bring it back, or you have damaged it. It will be said to him, Addi amanatak, fulfill your trust on the day of resurrection. And Allah is speaking to him. Addi amanatak. He would say, Ya Rabbi, كيف وقد ذهبت الدنيا. How can I do that, O Lord? The dunya is finished. And how can I return the item? Let's say you borrowed, for example, the car of a person. How can I give it back to him? The dunya is finished. We are in the akhirah. It will be said, take him to that ditch. So something high, you're going to fall from the cliff. And then you will see your amana, who you trusted with. Let's say it's a car. You see the car. It's exactly as it was in that dunya, when it being given to you. So as soon as you look at it, you realize that's the trust I've been trusted with, and I borrowed. Trusted. So it's a trust and a borrow, the same thing. This is the one. So you start following it, and then, by falling down. And then you will get it. Once you get it, you're going to carry it on your shoulder. And you're going to climb back from the ditch. And you're thinking that you're about to come out. Then it will slip from your shoulder back again. And you will be going after it. Abad al-abidin. Forever. That means for a long time. Forever. Going back for it. And then he said, the salah is a trustworthy. You've been trusted with it. Prayer. The wudu. Al-wudu amana. Al-wazn. Weighing. Kail. The volume. When you borrow something. Amana. And he called, so many things as well. So Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, when he said that, Al-Bara, he was asked, "Do you see what Allah just claimed?" He said such and such. He said, yes, he said the truth. Didn't you hear what Allah had said? Inna Allah ya'murukum an tu'addu al-amanati ila ahliha. And I believe this hadith is athar from Abdullah ibn Mas'ud himself. And he said, you fulfill the trust in the safeguarding that you have promised, even al-barr wal-fajr. He said, to the person who is evil doer, if he entrusted you with something. So it is for everybody, whether it's a Muslim or non-Muslim. He's trusted you with something, you have to return it back to him. Right, let's talk about the liability of it. Naam.
The one liable for the borrowed item. The one who borrows something is entrusted with the item, and thus there is no liability upon him unless he is negligent, or if the owner lays down such a condition of liability.
Right. Well, the scholars regarding this issue had differed. There are three sayings for them. One, they say that he is liable. Second saying, they're saying that he's not liable because like his hand is the hand of trust. He's been trusted. So the one who borrow is like the one who's been trusted. So he's not liable. The third one is to be liable when it's being conditioned. or when there is ta'addi or tafrit, negligence. Okay, these are the three sayings of the scholars. And we're going to find one of them is to be correct. Go ahead, please, Ismail.
Safwan ibn Ya'la narrated from his father, who said that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to him, "When my messengers come to you, give them 30 coats of mail and 30 camels." He said, "O Messenger of Allah, is it a loan or a guarantee?" He said, "O Messenger of Allah, is it a loan with a guarantee on it, or a loan simply to be paid back?" He replied, "A loan to be paid back."
Okay, can I just ask you, what to give him what? 330 what? 30?
33 coats, 30 coats of mail and 30 camels.
30 coats of mail.
It's like armor, rings.
Yeah, like shields. Yeah, coats of mail. So it's like for the army, like the person in the army. Yes?
Yes.
Well, it is actually shields. The shield, dir'a. Okay, dir'a. So there's 30 shields and 30 camels. This is because Prophet of Allah, what happened is that when he regained Mecca, 1 month he started to fight the people of Hawazin and Thaqif, which is in the Battle of Hunayn. Within a month. Safwan ibn Umayyah did not embrace Islam yet. But he was a rich man. He had lots of camels and he had lots of armors and lots of things to do with the war. So the Prophet ﷺ, asked him for a borrowal. So he said to him, "Is this borrowal guaranteed?" What does guaranteed means? Guaranteed, go on. Can you just tell me what is the guaranteed here, what it says?
In Subul as-Salam, volume 3, page 69, Al-Amir as-San'ani explained, "A loan with a guarantee means that if it is destroyed, the person will receive back its price."
He was asking Safwan, Messenger of Allah, can you tell me that this is borrowal that gonna be guaranteed? So in case, for example, this person break the shield, is he gonna be liable for it? Am I gonna be getting a compensation for that? The camel is being killed in the war. Am I gonna be compensated for that? Or is it gonna be not no compensation? There's no liability for it. Whatever returns. So you're borrowing something, and whatever returns. So if the shield is being scratched, has been broken into half, it's been lost, it's been burnt, camel was killed, I get whatever I get. Naam. Fadal.
A loan to be returned means that as long as the item is intact, it will be returned. But if it is destroyed, the person is not guaranteed his price back. This hadith is evidence that the borrower does not guarantee the object unless required by the lender. As stated earlier, this is the clearest of the opinions.
So the correct opinion, which is the opinion number 2, and that is there's no liability. Okay, there's no liability because he's the hand of a trust. Okay, so he's no liability. غير مضمونة. So there's no liability. So if, for example, okay, even if there is a liability, let's say, for example, you made a condition. You said, I wanted to borrow and I wanted to, something happens to it, then you have to pay back. Okay, if it's the whole item gone, I'll pay you back. But if I, for example, take a borrowal and part of that borrowal usage is gonna make some sort of, what do you call it, depreciation, that's the word, depreciation, I'm not liable for that. Meaning, for example, I borrow from you a car. So you said to me, anything happens to the car, burnt, stolen, you're liable for it. I said, okay. I borrowed the car. If you didn't say that, even if it's been stolen or burnt, I'm not going to return anything for you. But you said to me, if it's been burnt, stolen, but if I return it back to you after usage, 2 days or 1 day or 2 hours, and you started going with your telescope or microscope and started investing into the, let's say, the tread of the wheels. Oh, brother, there's a 1 millimeter from the tread. So what do you think I'm going to borrow the car? What, just to look at it? I'm borrowing the car because of, to use it. So you're going to, I'm not really liable for that tread that gone down because I'm going to use it. Also, I borrowed it to use it. That means the engine is going to be there. So if I use it and somehow the engine busted, I'm not liable for that because it's part of the usage. The borrow, I'm using the benefit of the borrow. From the benefit of the borrow is that I'm going to use the tires, I'm going to drive on top of them, onto them, and I'm going to as well use the engine. This is very important thing to learn because lots of things happening between the borrowers, between the brothers. If you don't know the Islamic stand from this, you're going to get into dispute. So you could just put a condition upon me. Yes, if it's been stolen or it's been burnt, the whole car, you have to liable for it. But if the engine was busted, the tires had something had happened, that's not my, unless there is negligence. What is negligence? I start spinning your car. Or I started really putting heavy gears on the car. Okay. So once, if I do this, then I'm in charge. If something happened to the engine, you've been spotted driving like mad. Brother, I've seen been spotted, you've been spinning the car. It's wheel spin. Then you're liable for new tires, or at least tires as they were, and liable as well for this engine. But you cannot just, for example, borrow something and put it like a bride. Look at it, don't touch it. What is borrow? It's not a borrow. This is. I want to borrow something to use it, and with this uses there will be depreciation. Naam. طيب. We understood this, alhamdulillah. We come to the third, which is al-luqata, and we will just make an opening because this is a big chapter here. Fadal.
Lost and found. This topic refers to all found items of value concerning which it is not known who the rightful owner is. In general, this topic refers to lost items other than animals. Animals are known by a different name, ضالة.
ضالة, not ضالة. ضالة.
ضالة.
No, double L. Dal. That means a shadda. ضالة. ضالة. So double shadda. ضالة means, ضالة is like lost. Okay. This chapter, as I said, we're going to be dealing with, inshallah, in 2 weeks' time. But let me just, first of all, make an introduction for it. Al-luqata. They call it what? Lost and found, or the lucky found?
Lost and found.
Yeah, I've heard they call it as well lucky found. Is it true?
I'm not
lucky
sure.
found. Okay.
No, Sheikh, we read that in other books and classes.
Lucky found. I don't like the word lucky because there's nothing lucky. Everything with the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. طيب. The lost and found is of 3 types, 3 categories. Category number 1, something you found where it is insignificant. People do not bother to look for it if it's been lost. I lost £5. I'll just look behind me where it is. We're not going to go on where was I and which place I was in. I'm going to ring my wife. There was a £5 or somewhere. Please remind me. £5 is gone. Okay, so something which is nothing. Basically, I lost my pen. This one. It's not an expensive pen. I will look around, but I'm not going to go and make, phone the police. Please, did you find me my pen and all of that? Or put in the newspaper that my pen is basically nothing. My pencil, my rubber, all these are rubbish things. So people, they wouldn't really worry about it. Even a mouse like this, or even even a cup. Okay, nothing. Even I would say, but if it's a mobile, yeah. All these days it's very hard not to spot the lost mobile. طيب. This thing, once you find it, it's yours. So £5, £2, £3, even £10, it's yours. Unless the person who is the owner, he says, brother, this is my pencil. It's okay. Brother, have you found my £20, which is there? Yeah, I found it. That's yours. But you don't have to do anything. You don't have to go and call the police. I found £20, found £10. I found a pencil. I found a mouse. I found a mouse. I'm talking about the mouse, the real mouse. Found it. These things nobody's going to look for them. They're not going to be really phoning the police for that, and they're going to be looking in newspapers for that. What is the best for me to do with such a thing? Best thing is to give it as a charity. But you're allowed. It's yours, because if you give it a charity, you will be rewarded, and also the person who lost it will be rewarded. So you give it for the sake of Allah. Better, which is the saying of Muawiyah radiallahu anhu and Uthman. tasaddaq, make sadaqah of them. Because you don't know the owner of it. If you know the owner of it, you have to give it to him. If you see the pen falling from that person, you give that pen to that person who's falling from him. Second category is the category where people, they deem it as something important. They're gonna be really looking for it. Considerable amount of money. Okay, something, you know. I'm not talking about passport, because passport, you're not gonna use it, are you? You're gonna hand it over. I'm talking about something that is beneficial for you. Gold. Okay. One person, he came to me, maybe he's one of the listeners, maybe not. Came to me, said to me, I found gold. I said, a lot? He said to me, a lot. Where? He said, I was on board of the plane, and when I left, my eyes captured on a seat, and I looked, and there was gold there. I took the gold. And I said, what did you do with it? I said, just took it. How long has it been? He said to me, I don't know, maybe 3 months or 2 months. I can't remember. It's a month plus. I can't remember. It's been a long time ago. So I said, how much is it worth? We're talking about thousands of pounds. What have you done? He said, well, I said, it's haram. You think that person who lost that gold, we're not going to be looking, you know, for this gold and asking, and where did you lost it? We're going to phone the aeroplane. I said, okay, go and phone first of all the agency, which is the owners of the plane. Like, for example, if it's British Airways, if it is Algerian Airways, whatever it is, go and phone them. And I remember which air, but I'm just saying, because I don't want that person as well to say that I'm making a scandal of it. So he phoned, Jazahullahu khairan. He phoned, and he phoned in front of me, and he told them, I found, and he didn't tell them what it is. I found such and such and such. And he didn't tell them exactly it is. So if anybody can describe it, and he asked him, did anybody come forward? He said, nobody came forward. It was with me. Call me. That's my number. If you find it, then. So this thing, it has to be for 1 year. Can't use it. For 1 year, you cannot use it. It has to be left there. If it is money, and you're not, you know, you keep the money. Unless you know, for example, that you're going to compensate the money once you use it. But it has to be within 1 year. If the person comes, and you keep telling, you know, you have to tell all these places, you know, where you think that the person who lost it is going to look into them, like police stations, like if it's something very important, dangerous, you have to, maybe in the newspaper, you could deduct the money from that thing when he comes to collect it. Tell him, pay me, brother, you know, for the advertising. But it's for 1 year. If you think that item you found is going to be expired, ruined in less than a year, then you sell it. You do the best. You sell it. Once you sell it, you keep the money for 1 year within the one. So if you think it's going to be a lot, for example, it's something that will be expired after 1 year worth nothing. So you sell it, you keep the money for 1 year. After 1 year, you're allowed to use it. But still, if the person came to you even after 10 years, exactly the same as the first category. Brother, I came to you after five years or 5 days. You know, find my £5, I lost it here. £5, yeah, but it's yours. It's his. Give it to him. Same thing here. After 1 year, you could use it, but it's still his. If he comes back, but what is the difference here? Now, if it's something, an item that it can be eaten, or like it's a perfume, very expensive, you used it. Well, after 1 year, he's not entitled. I can't give you the perfume, brother, because you did not come within the year. I could give you the, you know, how much it is. And even how much it is, let's say it's cost about £10,000, this perfume. Oh, well, let's say, realistic. Cost £200, this perfume. There's £1,000 very easily. Cost £500, this perfume. I can't give it to you because I haven't got the money, and you have to wait. You have to wait because within the year, I did not use it. After the year, if I use it, I will give it to you whenever it's available, or I'll give you the equivalence of that. That's the second item. The third item, which is the animal, and the animal has got its own category, which we'll be talking about. So these are the three categories of lost and found, or lucky found, they call it in English. Inshallah, we'll continue in 2 weeks' time, and you have now the time for you to question, inshallah. Jazakumullah khairan. So go ahead for your question. Priority goes to the people who are in Aylesbury, as long as you put Aylesbury. If you don't put Aylesbury, we don't know if you are from Aylesbury. No.
Barakallahu feekum, Shaykhana. Brothers and sisters, please raise your hand for your question. And if there are sisters who prefer to type the question, just send it on the chat to questions admin 1. Please go ahead, Brother Imran.
Sheikh, I've got a few questions, but I'll rejoin the queue. It's all on topic. First question I have around car insurance. So, you know, when you go on confused.com and it shows you a list of policies, if there's one policy that's £100 and it doesn't contain breakdown cover or windscreen cover, and there's a second policy which is £101, so £1 more, and that contains windscreen cover and breakdown cover, am I allowed to go for the £101 policy, or should I always go for the cheapest?
You see, we don't want this to be as a twist to legalize the haram. Okay. Basically, if you look into other than confused.com, Money Market, and others, you will find that it will be cheaper. It will be cheaper. Now, as for the breakdown cover, which is RACIA, or even the insurance of that, if the person is in dire need for it, then you're able to have it. It's just like the insurance, meaning that if you going all the time up and down the country and you're going to be, somehow there's a breakdown, yes, take it. But if you're not, you're a person who was within the city, alhamdulillah, Allah will help you, inshallah. You get brothers will help you. So I wouldn't say it is to go ahead, yes, but you have to search properly. For that, and not to aim to use that thing unless you are in need. Because remember, this is like gambling. You pay, for example, £20 or £30 a year or £50 a year for breakdown, and you might use it, the £50. You might use £500 because you're going to give you a hire car and pull you over and take you to the garage. Okay, or you might not use it at all. That's gambling. That means the £50, the extra £50 you paid for nothing, or the £50 you could get them because you broke down and the cost was £50, or you could be charging the company from other people's money. Of course, it's not from them, because that's how they work. Other people will not have a breakdown, so they will get the money and they will pay you, and it could be a lot of money. And subhanallah, insurance, by the way, is the biggest shaitan ever, biggest shaitan on the earth. So, taking my words into consideration, fear Allah Azza wa Jal and do what you think is correct. Naam.
Please go ahead, Sister Anna.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. When it comes to keeping an amana for someone, can you offer to keep an amana, or is that something that they should ask you and then you can accept or decline?
They don't have to ask you. If you have offered yourself, that means even more reward, because to offer that you're giving an option for a person, he might find it a dilemma to keep his thing. So if you're offering, then you are more rewarded because you are the one who is taking the initiative and offering your service. No.
Jazakallah khair.
Barakallahu feekum, Shaykhana. Sister Zohra, please.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salam wa barakatuh.
If you have some books and you'd like Islamic books and you'd like to throw them away, but they have a few Quran verses, are you allowed to throw them away, especially if they have Allah's name in that verse?
No, you're not allowed either to shred them properly, or you are allowed to burn them better, or put them in a very deep sort of ditch, dig a hole and put them there. Nah.
Jazakallah khairan.
Jazakallah khairan. Please go ahead, Faisal.
Assalamu alaikum.
Sheikh, is it me, Faisal, or
American Faisal first, please? His first.
Oh, you got Faisal. That's a good one.
We got two Faisals. Wow.
We got two Faisal, mashallah, today. Tfaddal.
Sheikh, real quick. Sheikh, if someone has a kunya, but the people insist on calling him by his real name, is that allowed? So, for example, instead of saying Sheikh Abu Suhaib, we say Sheikh Bassam. Is that allowed?
As long as the person doesn't take offended with that, no problem. So I could call Abu Hurairah radiallahu an, or you could call him, for example, Abdul Rahman, which is his name, Abdul Rahman bin Sakhr. But always
But
when
if
the
he
person is
objects,
older than you are, always you give respect to the person. So Jabir radiallahu anhu, when he was a companion, was old, and he was giving that story about the Jahannameen and Yazid al-Faqir. He was one of those people of the Khawarij. He came to the Medina and he passed by. He said, Ya Sheikh, call him Ya Sheikh. Naam, tafadhal ya Faisal now. But I think there's a difference between the two names, Ya Ahmed. There's one Fazl, which is Fadl, and the other one's Faisal. Isn't it true, Ya Fazl?
Mine is Faisal.
Yeah, yours is
yeah,
Faisal.
Sheikh, the
Yes.
American one here in Orlando, it's really Fazl Ibrahim. I know you call me Faisal. That's totally fine. So it's Fazl. So I'm the one here in America, Fazl.
Yeah, Fazl is referring to the Arabic word of fadl, which means virtue, which means excellence. Faisal means criterion. Criterion between the haqq and the batil. So two different names. Fadl ya Faisal.
And yes, Sheikh, if I had borrowed something from someone when they were in the same country as me, but they traveled to another country, and I still have those items, but I lost contact with them, what should I do with those items?
If those items now, they are still theirs. But if you're going to use them, depending upon what their item they are, if you're going to use them, then you have to be ready to be questioned about them when they come to see them. So they said you travel to another country. Now the world is very small, so I can't understand why you can't get them.
No, and is things pertaining to electronics and those things. He is a teacher who helped me with them, but then he traveled away. I can't contact him right now. But inshallah, he may be in the future.
Okay, so this is to do with ghalabat al-dhan. If you have more ghalabat al-dhan, that means more of on the side that you're gonna face him later on, meet him, then you keep it for him. But if you think more likely that this guy, I'm never gonna meet him because according to your calculation, he's not gonna be coming back, then it is yours. You're allowed to use it, but still his once he comes back. Remember, unless you stipulated one condition. The person who said to you, keep it for me, I said, brother, I'll keep it for you, but for 1 year. After 1 year, I'm not responsible for that. I might, I can't really do that. Then it's up to you. It's yours. Naam. Naam, ya Imran. Let's ask a question again. Imran.
Yeah, Sheikh. So my brother purchased a phone off me. So the price was £100. He paid me £50 and he said that, I'll pay you the remaining after in a few months. I didn't stipulate when exactly. And basically he forgot about it and I forgot about it as well. And I actually don't remember how much he actually paid me. He might have paid me £60. But obviously I don't need the money. Alhamdulillah, I'm fine. But I just want to check, is he going to be sinned for not paying me back? Does he need to seek forgiveness from Allah, basically?
Why he forgot? He said to you to pay you back? I don't understand.
Yeah, he forgot to pay me back, and I forgot to ask him as well.
He can't be sinned. He forgot. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not take him accountable for what he forgets. But if he deliberately forgot, or he knows he forgets and he did not put it down, he should ask the question, not you, because he's the one who will be liable for what he does, not you thinking what he's going to be. Why did he forget? Allahu a'lam. And by the way, in this case, in this way, let's say you're in dispute, did you pay it or did you not pay it? And now this is not to do with the borrow or to do with the trust or safeguarding. This is to do with the principle, which is Allah's, the Prophet said, Al-bayyinatu ala man idda'a wal hilfanu ala al-ankar, meaning the person who is claiming that he has to produce an evidence, but if there is no claim, then the person who is denying has to make an oath. So the person who had claimed that he paid it back, let's say the brother, he said, I paid it back, then he has to bring a proof. If you can't bring a proof, then you are saying, by Allah, I did not receive the money. Then it is yours. The judge will judge in your favor, and the money you will get it from him, inshallah. Naam ya Anis.
Sheikh, if somebody wants to put an amana on you to safeguard their house, but for example, he's a non-Muslim and he might have alcohol in it. Is it permissible for you to safeguard that house?
Yeah, well, you're safeguarding the house, not to safeguard the alcohol. You're safeguarding the house because of the precious items which is in the house to be used, or for example, to make sure that the cat is being fed of theirs, for example, to make sure that the lettuce goes in the box. There's no problem. See, no problem, because the Prophet ﷺ accepted to eat in the Jewish house. He eating food, and you think the food is being 100% halal, and he most likely the money that comes to the Jews is from riba, from the usury. But the Prophet accepted to eat. This is for the maslahat al-da'wah. He came to eat to the house of the Jewish lady, eating from that barbecued lamb, which ended up resulted in his death after that by 3 years, which is because of the poison. So no problem, yes. But if you are just guarding it for the sake of the alcohol, let's say, for example, can you guard for me the next door, for example, pub? No, I can't guard the pub because the pub is a pub. No. So if I'm asking you now, safeguard for me if he said to you that the thing he's got to say, safeguard for me my laptop, what are you going to say to him? No, brother, I've got to check your laptop first. What is it in it? And then I safeguard it. The laptop is most likely going to be for things, maybe there's haram things in it. But you take it as a general. The general is the laptop is most likely being used for something which is halal. Yeah, I'm sure that there will be maybe pornography in it. But you're gonna safeguard it for him. But if you know that this neighbor of yours, he uses the house only for drinks, uses the house for keeping the drinks, manufacturing drinks, no, you don't safeguard it. Naam.
Jazakallah khairan, Shaykhana. A brother from Ellsbury is asking that if he sees something valuable in the street, if he doesn't pick it up from the street, someone will take it. So can he take it and look after it for when the owner returns?
Keep what? What is that? Where do you find what?
He found something valuable in the street. If he doesn't pick it up, he said he fears that somebody else will take it.
I don't understand the mentality of this question. Can you just answer the question? Somebody found, for example, a wallet with got 200 pounds. He's not going to pick it up, going to leave it there? Allahul Musta'an. What sort of this person? This person needs to go to the hospital. Somebody found a wallet. Somebody's got 200 pounds. He says, well, I need to pick it up because valuable, maybe. You have to pick it up, akhi. You can't just leave it there. You have to pick up this thing. And I don't think yourself would say, I'll be so honest, I'll leave the 200,000 pound here. That's not a question. You'll pick it up, unless you're in the haram. That's in the haram, something you could ask me that question. Then you'll pick it up to give it to the lost and found property. Straight away, it's not yours. And haram is different. As we're going to explain, inshallah, when we come to the luqata. More details. So, any person finds something valuable, he's going to take it. But there's no such thing called lucky found. Like this person, he found a watch. Allah, I remember him. And I said to him, what did you find it? He said to me, in a watch shop. I said, MashaAllah, tabarak. So he found lost property, a watch in the shop which sells watches. And he did not tell the shopkeeper. He said, no. I said, this is thieves. This is stealing something. Most likely belong to the shop or to somebody he purchased from the shop. So you have to tell the shopkeeper, is this yours? If it's not his, okay, the person who had put it there, tell him that if he comes, let him ring. This is my phone number. After 1 year, it's yours. Unless he comes after 1 year, and he says, you have to give it back to him. But after 1 year, you could use it. Naam. Let's last question, please, Habibi. Last question.
Go ahead, brother.
I got my medical.
Ibrahim, go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salam alaikum.
Ya Sheikh, I'm a diver, and once I found gold in deep sea. But sometimes people swim there. Do I have to ask the people if the property is theirs, or do I regard it as a treasure?
Is it a true question, is it?
Yep.
Jazakallah khairan. I see the benefit of the class. And by the way, he called you Ibrahim. Are you Ibrahim?
Yes.
How did he know that Ibrahim and your name is in front of me? Saimir Dizdari.
Ahmed is my friend.
So you got different names, is it?
Yes, I have a Muslim name also.
Okay. Ahmed, please call the names according to what they are, because you're confusing me.
Okay.
You said Ibrahim. I don't know. Look, what is Ibrahim? So look, what they are there, call them according. Jazakallah khair. You're friends, but I didn't know. Maybe he had ignored somebody called Ibrahim and you came in. I was going to say to you, please don't talk, brother. Where is Ibrahim? That's what the confusion is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, it's a good question. You found gold, where do you swim? Okay. This gold, of course, is considerable amount, and people will start looking for it. So what you need to do now, the houses which is around that beach, you tell them, I found gold. You don't tell them what it is. You tell them what it looks like. We're going to talk about that, inshallah. You tell them, because you're going to keep that. So after 1 year, remember how it looks like, and you could use that gold. Was it made of rings, made of necklaces, made of pearls, made of, it's a necklace, it's a ring, it's a whatever it is, a bracelet, okay, whatever it is. So remember that. So you document that. Or you can take it now, like this day, you just take an image of it. If the person comes, describe it for me, it's yours. So you tell the people who's around. And also call the police. Tell them. Now, some people say to me, the police, they're not going to accept it. They say to you, take it. Yeah, this is not correct. Tell them if somebody asks you, this is.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you, please remind me, Ahmed, next 2 weeks' time, I'm going to say a story regarding my keys. Okay, my keys, which I lost myself. Remind me of that, yeah, Ahmed. And if Ahmed forget as well, all the brothers could remind me as well, the Zahid and all of that. I've got a story about the keys. سبحانك اللهم بحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. جزاكم الله خيرا.